Look what I found. You guys, I found my agenda from 2015. Now, 2015 for me was a year to explore solo travel. If you guys have never solo traveled before, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. What's cool about this is when I found this, immediately I remembered what I had done in this journal. So a little bit of backstory. Hello, my name is Amanda Weldon. If you guys are new to this channel, I would love if you hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications. We have a lot of fun stuff coming. But the reason why I'm coming at you pretty excited with this video is the fact that in 2015, I took a solo trip. I had just graduated university. I was ready to explore the world, and the fact that nobody else was ready to do that with me was such a blessing in disguise that I was able to actually harness as an opportunity to travel alone. One of my best friends in the entire world, he's getting married this year to his partner, and I actually get to be in the wedding. I'm super pumped about that. But he lives in Australia, in Brisbane. And we met in Canada, obviously, typical place to meet when you live in Canada. His name's Russell, and I ended up flying over to Australia to visit Russell because at the time he had moved there post-travel in with his partner, and it was just a really good opportunity to kind of meet up with someone, get my bearings, and then go off on my own. So I'd never done something like this. Take two. So I had never done something like this before. I had never been so ambitious to go and travel alone, let alone travel across to the other side of the freaking planet to Australia. So I ended up learning a lot about myself. First thing, if you've never done it before, I highly suggest it. If you're watching this video because you're about to go on a solo adventure, I am so excited and so jealous, so envious of what you are about to discover. And I just want to dive right in. I have 90 tips, 90 things that I learned when traveling alone, and we're going to get into them right now. Let's get to this video. So I'm literally going to be reading some of these out of my journal and elaborating with them with you right here. So number one, if you're staying anywhere longer than 2 days, find out where the local grocer is. This is going to save you so much money by buying simple snacks like nuts, fruit, English muffins, peanut butter, cold meats even. I remember literally going to the grocery store and then sitting at McDonald's and eating this like smoked salmon just because it felt a little bit healthier because there was a grocery right there, and even make a food plan. You can plan when you are traveling in some areas. Australia is a good place to go if you're traveling alone because some of those kitchen setups, you'll actually have pots and things like that. So you can go, and if you know you're gonna be in one place for a while, you can just buy a package of pasta and that's gonna keep you going for a while. And also shop those coupons. Number two, if you have any medications or anything like that, carry them with you. If your baggage gets lost, you're also going to lose that very necessary piece of packing. So make sure those are in your carry-on with you. You will not regret it, and you'll also not have any stress about that when you reach your final destination if your luggage does get lost. The other half of that second tip with medication is actually also set alarms. If you change time zones and you have a regiment in the time that you're supposed to be taking your medication, and it's not enough time that you're traveling where you would actually completely switch the time that you're taking this medication, just set alarms in your phone. That's going to remind you of a bit more of a different time that you're not used to taking those medications, just to make sure that you stay on track as soon as you get home. Let's talk about the shuttle. The shuttle is an incredible thing to use because it costs less money. So if you're taking the shuttle from the airport down to your hostel to the central part of a city, that's really good because it's just more people inside of a vehicle. It costs less money usually just because it's usually a service even provided by your hostel sometimes. But make sure that your shuttle driver is paying attention. I was in a shuttle and there were a bunch of people in there and the shuttle driver almost drove away without someone's luggage. It was just sitting on the side of the sidewalk. So make sure they're paying attention, maybe even to the road. Sometimes they'll have their cell phones on them. So Be a little bit diligent with that. If you are in the inside seat and everybody is about to grab their luggage and you just landed and you're ready to go on your adventure, maybe wait a second, because if you don't, you're gonna have people reaching up and you're gonna find yourself inside of an armpit. If you meet anyone who is British, English, from the UK, just hope that they call you darling. It's like the most endearing thing ever. But I will note, obviously that part is a joke. Whoever you meet, take a moment to try and be as present as possible. Something that I found when I met new people and I was on a trip was there were some moments that I knew that I was in full consciousness talking to those people, and I knew also that the memory that we were making right there was the only memory we would ever have on the surface of this planet. Likely. Crazier things have happened. But sometimes when you part ways, it may be parting ways forever, and you honestly sign off by saying, hey, it was so nice to meet you, I hope you have a great life. And there's something really special about being conscious in those moments with others. When you are traveling, bring a small pad of paper and extra pens. I say extra because mine broke while I was there, but I had some extras to back it up. The reason why I say this is bring that with you wherever you go, because if you meet someone, cell service could be down, there could be something weird going on with technology, and sometimes it's really hard to get people's phone numbers or to even just remember them. How would you be able to do that? Because we always have our cell phone numbers in our cell phones. So if you need to take down information about a location, an address, someone's phone number, someone's Facebook name, then you always have a resource to do that in. If your hostel doesn't have a locker, a lot of hostels do have lockers big enough that you can put your total huge bag in, but some simply don't. I highly recommend bringing a personal lock with you. You can lock your bag shut in between the zippers, and for that extra security, there were moments where I actually locked my bag to my bed or a grate or something like that, because then you know it's gonna stay there unless they're taking that bed with them. If you don't know a safe place to eat, you can always ask or go on TripAdvisor. That's always a really good way because it's basically other travelers, other people, other experiencers writing down their experience of where they ate. If there's no Wi-Fi and you can't go on TripAdvisor and basically your only resource is kind of walking up and down a street just to find somewhere to eat, I suggest finding the place with the longest queue, so the longest line. That's going to tell you that maybe locals eat there because they find it safe and delicious, and it's also going to tell you that other people have maybe made that research for you. It could be a bit of a safer move just finding that longer queue. For this one, it actually was a tip that I got from a friend because I haven't had the pleasure of visiting some Asian countries, for example, where they have different kind of bugs and things like that. What you want to do is you want to do your research and find out what bug spray kills their bugs, because different places that you travel, they have different types of insects and things like that, and they may actually find your bug spray really nice, like a cocktail dessert. So you're gonna want to find locals or even do your research on what bug spray works best. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. Sometimes you just get really tired when you're traveling, but please just take a deep breath, ask for help, because sometimes it's better just to take that second, garner some of that energy and ask for help, because it's better than spending extra money that you don't need to spend. Trust your gut. If you're on a tight deadline, there was one area that I went, northern parts of Australia. I was on a tighter deadline, and this was my opportunity to really adventure and try different things, excursions, things like that. Try to book those all at once so that you can really take advantage of that time and give yourself a really good timeline where you can kind of get all of those things you want to do in. But if you have a longer timeline, be a little bit loosey-goosey with that, because you don't know, you could meet someone and a really cool opportunity could come up, and if you have everything slam booked, you may not actually be able to be spontaneous in your traveling moments. So gauge, do you have to maybe make all of your plans right at once just to make sure you really take advantage of your time somewhere, or can you be a little loosey-goosey with the planning just to give yourself a little bit of leeway if spontaneity happens? Do not feed the seagulls. Don't do it. They will attack you. When you are staying at different hotels, hostels, maybe avoid putting your bag on the bed the first moment that you get there before you do the bedbug check. Also learn the bedbug check. This is a good way to make sure that if maybe by chance your place does have bed bugs, they don't transfer to your luggage and into all of your items. It's also kind of a good idea to maybe not even keep your bag on your bed while you jet out, just as a precaution. Also, places like TripAdvisor will be diligent with telling you if a place has a trace of bed bugs. This is something I suggest doing, checking, looking into, maybe before booking your first solo trip, and that will give you a little bit more ease into what you're walking into. Don't say your room number out loud. A lot of concierges are taught this way. They know exactly what to do. But if you are sharing your room number with someone, write it on a piece of paper. You don't want to just be advertising where you're staying, especially if you're a little bit uncomfortable about traveling alone and it's your first time. Totally understandable. This is a good way just to transfer that information and not make it too public. Every time you get in a taxi or a shuttle, take a photo of that shuttle number, because if you leave something behind, this is going to make it so much easier to track it down. When you are traveling, especially when you are traveling alone, it's your world and everyone else is living in it. Of course, you have to be respectful, but this is your time to make decisions. For me, I had a really tough time making decisions. This was one of the biggest learning curves that I experienced when I traveled alone. I would wake up in the morning and just think, Amanda, what do you want to do today? It kind of took me longer to decide what I wanted to do just that day when I first started traveling, because I was so used to just going with the flow and doing whatever everyone else wanted. Be your own leader of your own destiny, make your decisions, and be diligent with keeping them, even if someone else is going off and doing something. McDonald's has Wi-Fi, so do a lot of major shopping destinations. So if you need Wi-Fi, you need it free, you only have so much data, look for those golden arches. Carry a water bottle with you everywhere. Everywhere. Do it. Carry it. A lot of hostels actually give out welcome packages, and in those packages, they'll let you know kind of what's going on, if they're hosting any events at the hostel. Actually look at them. Take the time to check it out, because it could actually serve you pretty well in the end. Take a deep breath. Don't freak out. This is all a part of the journey. There'll be a moment where you need this advice. Buy the damn photos. If you took the trip, buy the damn photos. It's a passport back to your memory, and also a passport trip, a way to get them again. Find out if you can pay for public transit on site or if you need a preloaded card. Sunscreen. That's not enough, so more sunscreen. Sometimes at hostels you can buy laundry detergent. Check if it's 1 wash or 2. I used the whole thing. It was 2. It got really soapy fast. Check that. This is kind of besides the point. Keep people in your life you would love to travel with, and keep people in your life you would travel across the world for. Having a really good playlist already loaded on your phone, no internet required, is more important than you think. I took an overnight bus and it literally saved me. It was the moment I was feeling the most homesick, and I actually had a couple of friends put together playlists for me, and it just brought me right back home, and it felt so good. So get those playlists loaded, and even have some friends make some for you. Bring your ID. Even if you're going out and you know it's gonna be okay and you're a little older, bring your ID. You don't wanna be able to be kicked out of a pub because you didn't have your ID on you. Just bring it. 2 things, must pack: eye mask, earplugs. When you are at a service desk and you're paying for something at the ATM, for example, put your bag between your legs. Don't think that you're not going to be the one that gets caught in a scenario where things get taken. Just think of it as you're dealing with professionals. Don't bring valuables like your passport on a boat trip. Lock that down on land. When you're going on a boat trip, look into travel calm drugs like Gravol or ginger pills or something like that. Trust me, you don't want to be the person hurling their cookies, adding some fish food to the world off the back of the boat. And also note, when reading the instructions on this, some of them take half an hour to kick in. So if you're a really sensitive stomach, you may actually A, want to stay on land, or B, make sure that you take this the half an hour before hitting the tides. If you do get sick on the boat and you have already taken this medicine, here's a tip. Try and move with the tide and look into the horizon where you are going. This will actually settle your stomach. It did for me. We really got into it at one point, and I thought I was gonna be one of those people, but I held strong. If you're getting out of a taxi, getting out of a shuttle, getting off of a boat, leaving a room, leaving a table, just look back behind you before you leave. You may actually have forgotten something and you didn't even realize, and just that quick little look, that quick little check will ensure that all of your property is secure. Because it's those silly mistakes that leave you with the most horrible feeling. Pack an extra phone charger. It will save you sometimes. Trust me, I got in a scenario and just pack the extra phone charger. They come in those little tiny cases these days. And if you get to the airport, you're watching this right now, before going on your plane, just run to one of those kiosks and just get one. I have a little packing list of must-haves. Obviously, you'll have your packing list and everything, but I'm saying Ziploc bags for liquids in your bag, a copy of your passport, so a photocopied version of your passport, that's really important. Duct tape, just a little, you never know, it actually does help. And as well, an adapter and a personal lock. Yeah, that personal lock for your bag, and then an adapter, because sometimes you forget to actually put that in the packing list, but you may need an adapter so that you don't blow all of your electronics when you get there. That being said, as soon as you leave, give your itinerary to someone at home. Just keeps them in the loop. You know that someone has your back just in case you're trying to get to another destination or you should have arrived somewhere. Someone is keeping track of you. And thinking of someone keeping track of you, check in with your home government. Usually on a government site, I know it's this way in Canada, you can actually go to the government site and let Canada know that you are leaving the country for a little bit. That way, if anything happens, they know that you could possibly be in a destination where, say, there was a natural disaster or something like that. They know that they're gonna be looking for you. Be flexible with your bookings. I got to a destination and I had wished that I had booked an extra day because it really wasn't that much money at the end of the day, but I could have used it as extra bag storage. So that +1, -1 day, to be a little bit flexible can sometimes save you in a scenario when you don't really know where your next move is. And sometimes that will actually save you too, because though you may think, oh, I can just book it when I'm there, book the extra night, well, they actually may be sold out. So you could just euchre yourself if you don't give yourself the leisure of extra time. If you are booking an excursion with a middleman, I will say this. Usually you go to these travel or tourism little kiosks, right? And they have all these tours and they're showing you, and it's so great because I booked a bungee that I would have never expected to book otherwise if I hadn't sat there and kind of listened to all the stuff going on. But I will say this. The price that they give you doesn't necessarily have to be the actual price. They do have some wiggle room. So if you consider yourself a good salesman, a good saleswoman, maybe flex that muscle a little bit. Or if you're saying, hey, here's an opportunity where I can grow and maybe become a little bit better at that, this is a great opportunity. Don't take that final price. Snap a picture of your bag. If you get the unlucky card, at least you have a picture of it, and that's gonna help you find it later. Stop to enjoy the street performers. Don't just disregard them right away. You could be robbing yourself of an incredible memory, of an incredible opportunity to soak in the culture and just a moment, okay? Some of these people are incredibly talented. Have extra little change on you and just stop and watch, because it could be the only moment in maybe a go vacation that you actually just sit there and think, wow, how cool is it that I am here right now enjoying this when that is completely outside of my regular routine. Stop and enjoy the street performers. Always pack a hat. Summer, winter, always pack a hat. Bring your own first aid kit. Here's a couple of things that I'm saying about it. Your own little pharmacy can save you time and money. Ibuprofen, Band-Aids, decongestants, digestives, non-digestives, if you know what I'm saying, earplugs, anything like that. You are going to be amazed. It will help you a lot. Pack outfits you'll actually wear, not once, but twice, especially if you're backpacking like me. I actually ended up going, so I went into Sydney, and then I went up to Cairns, and then I worked my way back down to Brisbane, back to Sydney on the east coast of Australia. And at the end of my trip, after backpacking for so long, I actually ended up going to the races. So they're pretty posh event. And I ended up packing efficiently enough that I had a dressy enough outfit to go to that, but so many transitional pieces. Pack things you'll actually wear and feel good in. To kind of run off of that point, pack things that you actually enjoy wearing as well. Things that don't give you a wedgie, don't give you blisters, don't make you feel cold or weird or out of place just because you know, oh, I won't worry about this item because I don't really care for it. Pack things that you actually like wearing, because if you don't like wearing it at home, you're not gonna like wearing it on vacation. And you're not gonna like it in your photos either. So that would be a mistake. Never put your wallet or your phone in your back pocket. Not even at home. Don't do that. Stolen in the toilet. Don't do it. Take notes. Even if you think you're going to remember those tiny, small little moments, take notes. What I did was I brought this journal with me, and inside every single day at the end of the night, I didn't actually bring a journal with me. I had my whole itinerary in there, and I would just write little notes and little memories. It makes the story smoother, and it makes the memory better when you get home, and you can personally remember all these things, because then again, remember, this is a solo trip. This is a solo adventure. A lot of these memories you're going to be spending with other people from around the world. When you travel alone, you're not alone, actually. I spent a lot of time with people, so that's also a myth. But the stories that you're telling are to people that weren't with you. And you may not be as great at photos. I wasn't when I went on my trip in 2015. So making those little notes is just going to make telling those stories so much more fun. If you think you should maybe take a photo of something, or you're thinking, oh, I wish I had a photo of that, take it. Take the freaking photo. Take the second, just take the photo. And same goes for not. If you think you shouldn't take a photo, don't take the photo. The second you're like, I think I should pack this, just pack it. And if you're out in the grocery store, or you're at school, or you're in a class and you're not actually with your packing bag in the moment, make a note in your phone, because if you don't, you're gonna forget about it, because it seemed like an afterthought anyways. Bring snacks. It's important. No one likes a hangry traveler. Bring snacks. It's important. Put a travel alert on your credit card or your debit card or whatever card you're using, and let the bank know that you're traveling. That way you don't get somewhere, make a transaction, and then actually get shut out of your own bank account. Look into the local banking there. A lot of banks here actually have partner companies wherever you are going if you're going overseas, and you can actually open up a card with them or a card with a bank here that will work there at their sister company. It just makes making those transactions and pulling money out of your account so much easier, because you can actually use their bank machines. Learn some local phrases that are important, like please, thank you, where is, do you have this in a size 8 shoe, things that you think will be important to you. Definitely learn those in just regular everyday phrases. Pack more underwear than you think is even conceivably possible to wear. Pack so much underwear that at customs, you're concerned they're gonna think that you have a bladder issue. Pack so much underwear that you can actually change it twice a day if you're going to a hot destination or you're traveling around or whatever, because you will actually use it likely. And sometimes it's a luxury. You feel like a king or a queen when you can freshen up the down unders. Try to pack things that'll match so you don't look like a weirdo. Putting dryer sheets in your luggage will make them smell great after you have been wearing them for a while. They will also reduce static, and it takes up zero space. Those little tissue packs that you can get at the drugstore are a godsend. Please bring some of those, especially for the sniffles on the plane. Sarcasm is not a thing at border security, so don't use it. I'm convinced that all border security has been presented with the Men in Black pen that erases that part of your memory. Just be real. Just be real when you get to security. If you're going on a long haul flight, don't pee your pants because you're sitting on the inside seat and you don't want to ask someone to wake up. Honestly, just wake them up and go to the washroom. People will understand that you have to go to the washroom, and they'll wake up, and then they'll fall back asleep instead of doing a weird like pee dance over top of them, because waking up with someone standing over top of you is a lot more awkward than just saying, excuse me, I gotta go. Stuff your socks and your shoes, it's a space saver. Never bring more than 2 bags. Trust me on this one. No one likes to be a human pack mule with all of their bags. Roll your clothes, put them in your bag. It saves space and it reduces wrinkles. If you do end up forgetting a pharmacy item, just ask at the front desk. First of all, you could potentially get it for free. And second of all, they're usually so tiny, you feel like a giant. Attach a colorful piece of fabric to your bag, or if you're funny like me, a tag that says, "This is not your bag," because people are ruthless and they just don't know what they're doing often. And it'll also just help you identify it when it is coming around that baggage claim. I usually get the same feeling when I see my bag coming through baggage claim because they've lost my bag so many times as I do when I'm really hungry and food is coming to the table. And that just kind of like pumps up the excitement a touch. Pack a pillowcase. First of all, you never know when you want to use it. It's kind of nice to have your own home pillowcase, reduces the homesickness. And as well, if you don't end up using it at all, it's a super great, easy way to put dirty laundry separated from clean laundry. Shower caps around dirty shoes. A great packing tip. If you are going to stay at a hostel, sometimes they actually require a deposit for your room key. Now, they sometimes will have ATMs so that you can pull out the cash. They're just going to give it to you when you leave anyways. But to avoid extra fees, have cash with you when signing into a hostel because of a potential deposit. Look up the customs, i.e. tipping, attire, whether you should walk on the grass, chew gum, things like that. Being in the know about some of the local laws will really help you stay out of trouble and also help you avoid spending money where you don't need to. This tip definitely helped me when I traveled Dubai actually, because there were things that I knew about the customs there and things that I didn't, and I was actually pleasantly surprised and able to lower some stereotypes when I traveled there. So that was really, really nice. Plastic cutlery, I would not try to use it at home because I try to reduce my plastics, but it is no longer a one-use thing. When I was at one hostel, I actually had to put a deposit down for everything. I was very unprepared. I had to put a deposit down for a fork, a knife, a spoon, a bowl, a pot, everything. So if you can actually go to IKEA or something like that, locally, Walmart or something, and buy a really sturdy, heavy-duty fork, knife, or whatever, or if you get caught traveling and you don't have any of these, you can actually ask for them at areas like McDonald's, for example, and then you won't have to put down that deposit or worry about having cash on you. If they have it, grab extras, little ketchup pack, salt, pepper. Salt's a good one to have on tap actually, because if maybe you get a canker sore or something like that, then you can always gargle with salt water. If you don't have mouthwash, you can always gargle with salt water just to keep it a bit cleaner while you're traveling. And salt is just always a really good thing just to have as an extra condiment on the side. So if they have extra of it in little packets, maybe grab a couple to take with you. Individual wet wipes, they're your friend. Planes are freezing. Planes can get really, really cold. They can get really hot too, but usually they can get really cold. So make sure you have extra socks and a sweater with you. Layering up is perfect, and then underneath having another outfit upon arrival that you can rock, or even in your carry-on. Just make sure you're prepared for a cold flight. Send postcards. It makes somebody's day. It makes somebody's day so much, and it's gonna make you feel really good. If you don't have someone that you would prefer to send postcards to, maybe an idea as well is to send postcards to yourself. And then when you get home, you will be reminded of these amazing adventures you had and where you spent them. And it's also really exciting because sometimes you get home and you haven't even got your own postcard yet. Attempt to do your time change on the plane. If you are going into a complete flip like I was, my plan was to then stay awake during the day, stay awake as long as I could till a set amount of time, and then go to sleep. Or vice versa, get on the plane and try to fall asleep right away. Oh, just thinking about it. Yeah, that sounds good. Or fall asleep right away, and then you can kind of transition over. There is also things like melatonin. Definitely consult your doctor if you're interested in trying one of these, or the pharmacist, but I have found that melatonin has been a really good assistant for me personally in the past. An interesting thing about this too is the plane and the staff there will actually already try to help you do that. So when I was coming home from Australia, I was actually boarding the plane on what I felt was dinner time, but when we boarded the plane, it was Canada's morning. So the first meal they served was pancakes, and it just wasn't enough for me. Like, I was still really hungry. I was expecting dinner. So if you do know that this is gonna happen, make sure you have a couple of extra snacks with you all the time, just in case you aren't satisfied with what they're serving on the plane. Bring your sense of humor and be kind. It can go a long way. Complaining is a universal language of negativity. So if you can bring your humor and a light sense of adventure, then I guarantee it will go a long way. Even if you're having a problem, people want to help you. If you can, if it's possible, leave a tip and a note for the maid. If you drove to the airport and you parked at the airport before you leave on your whirlwind adventure, take a photo of where you parked. You're probably just gonna be so excited that you're running to the terminal to get on with your adventure. So if you have a photo of where you parked, once you get back home, especially if it's cold, you'll know exactly where your car is to take you back to the sense of comfort that is home. Ask your tour or museum guide for tips. They're gonna tell you what to skip and what to hit. Travel insurance, get it. You won't regret it if something goes wrong. With travel insurance too, make sure you have health insurance because health insurance can really help you in a bind. It doesn't cost a lot. If you're coming from Canada and you're a CAA member, you can go right in there, get the health insurance. If you're not already covered at work or through your parents, you can get it for the allotted amount of time. Literally, you can pay for full health insurance coverage in some other country for 12 days, for example, 2 weeks, for example. If something goes wrong, you are going to save yourself a very expensive potential hospital or doctor's bill. When you are traveling, bring a business card of the address of your hostel or hotel, or even write it down in your phone. Phones die though with batteries and everything, so if you could have a written copy, it's the best way to go. In that little notepad we talked about way long ago, thanks for staying this long in this video, because you may actually forget where you are, and if the cab driver, taxi driver, or whoever doesn't know where you're going back to, it kind of just eliminates human error completely. If you have food allergies, try to make sure that you look up the language of how to ask about food allergies and what you can eat at a restaurant. I'm sure you personally already know all of these tips about carrying that medication with you too, just in case. Figure out how to photo sync wirelessly from your camera. If you do have a camera that does photo syncing wirelessly, it's the best. And you can also get like a little external hard drive that photo syncs wirelessly, opposed to having to take a camera, put it on the computer, and put it on your hard drive. This will save you, because what if you actually do go camera crazy and you fill up an SD card? I would recommend bringing an extra one, but if you don't have an extra one, you can always download some photos onto maybe your hard drive or your phone. And as well, this takes the computer element out of the whole process, and it's easier to send photos home on the fly, or even post them to Instagram on the fly. It's always way more fun when you're actually in it and sharing. I say the bottom bunk, you can do you, boo-boo. If you want to take the top bunk, take it, but choose quickly. If you're going to vomit on a boat, vomit off the side. Don't vomit it in the garbage. It's just gonna stink up the whole boat. But take note of what way the wind is going, okay? Very, very important. If it is important that you get up early to go on your excursion, maybe consider not going out binge drinking the night before. That's just me. Maybe consider that as a good maybe mantra for you. Plus, multiple alarms are definitely your friend. Comfortable shoes, an extra pair of socks. That's what you're bringing when you're walking around town. Did you know that some boat excursions won't actually let you bring a bag with zippers on it? A zipperless bag is something that is really important to have. I remember, you know, those shoestring or those string tie-up tightening bags, those are like the perfect thing to pack if you can get your hands on one of those, because A, they don't have zippers, B, you can put them on your back and it only has one point of entry at the top, which is pretty safe, and C, it's so small to pack in your bag. So roll that up, put it in your bag, even put a pair of shoes in there, it's good to go. Zipperless bags on a boat. Don't keep all of your money in one place. An idea that I have for my femmes out there. So if you want to split up your money, maybe think of some creative ways to do so. Under the sole of your shoe, if you have shoes with removable soles. I, on the other hand, took some extra bundles of cash and I put it at the bottom of my tampon box because nobody's going to check there, period. If you think that you're going to get a lot of local attention if you are going out at night, I know it won't stop everything completely, but I have worn a fake wedding band before. I find that it did diminish a little bit of the attention that I was getting. The last thing I'm gonna say, this is a bonus. The last thing I am going to say is if you are considering to take a solo trip, take it. You will not regret it. You will love every single moment. Well, maybe not every moment. I did have a dip in that, and I would like to save that for an extra time, maybe a story time when it comes to solo traveling and my personal stories. But if you are considering it, please do it. It's going to enhance your life. It's going to enhance the way you see the world, the way you see yourself, the way you make decisions, and the way that you interact with people. And even just, maybe you're gonna make a friend in England, and I have, and if I go there, I'm gonna call them up. You make international friends. It's one of the best decisions you could make in your life if you think that you need a chance to grow. I'm sending you guys so much love. I know I hit you with a lot of tips in this, and I wrote them a very long time ago and still find them valuable and still expanded on them just a touch. I couldn't have covered everything because that was only 90-something tips. So if you have any extra tips or travel stories, I would love to hear them in the comments below. And if there's something that you want to know more about my trip, it will just give me more license to make more videos just like this. I love you guys so much, to the moon and back, and one would say around the world 90 times. And we will see you in my next video. Bye guys.